Hello, my name is Marge Lewter, L-E-W-T-E-R. I'm here to represent Craig County. I'm a veterinarian in Craig County, and I am a landowner that's on the pipeline route, the potential pipeline route. I represent Craig County, but also 1,200 citizens who ask that our government officials take all actions necessary to protect our land, our rights, and our welfare by opposing this and any other transmission pipelines through Craig County. It will provide no local energy access, and the reduction of property values will far exceed landowner compensation. The pipeline will provide no benefit for this region. It will endanger health, natural resources, water quality, cultural values, tourism, property values, and citizen safety. The citizens of Craig County stand united to protect and preserve our natural resources and our way of life. In addition, I represent over 800 citizens who have established already through the Forest Service that we already know the pipeline route will pass through and disrupt the most endangered habitats on Earth for the federally endangered James spiny mussel. We know that the proposed routes will be visible from the Appalachian Trail and will scar the most important views from Dragon's Tooth. We know the routes will go through areas designated by the U.S. Forest Services as designated black bear habitat and old growth forest. We know the routes through the National Forest will fragment the wilderness area, and that the Forest Service has invested in protecting those areas. We know they are proposed to cross steep and unstable slopes, unstable karst geology, and affect the quality of groundwater. We already know the proposed routes will remove forest cover and that protects our critical water supply. We know that the routes will destroy conservation easements, streamside buffers, and wildlife habitat restoration projects and other conservation efforts created by the citizens in collaboration with state and federal agencies. We know the proposed routes will disturb the nesting bald eagles on Johns Creek. And we know that these routes will affect the cultural sense of place for Craig County citizens and everybody else in this room. And they will scar the current and future generations forever. Thank you.
WOLF, just like the animal. I am one of about 5,000 residents of Craig County, where I run two businesses. I'm a landowner in both Craig and Monroe counties. I speak for Preserve Craig, a large organization which has been working there to protect and preserve the resources since 1991. We opposed the alternative 110 routes, and I asked that these reasons be studied in the EIS. So here's why. These routes follow the same path as a proposed power line in the 1990s. The government found the impacts to Craig and Monroe would be too severe to allow construction of a power line and could not be mitigated. Most important, the citizens were found to be culturally attached to the landscape, which is 54% national forest. The Forest Service found that impacts from that power line on the citizens were not capable of mitigation. We will be providing the records from that line siting process to the FERC. The proposed pipeline would have far more severe impacts on the citizens than the power line, and these impacts are not capable of mitigation. Craig is unique because more than half the county is owned by the U.S. government. Many take exceptions to a corporation's authority to take private land for corporate profit. Make no mistake, that is what is happening here. There is to date no evidence of public need or benefit. There will only be public harm and private gain. Not only that, the corporation is an LLC that has not been required to prove its responsible capacity to construct or operate a pipeline of any size, let alone one of the largest proposed to date. I'm an organic food production professional, and my clients are required to meet strict certifications. MVP has not even been reviewed or certified to dig a ditch without causing harm, and yet they are being given the authority of eminent domain. We have scientific documentation that we are culturally attached to the landscape. Livelihoods, livestock, and ways of life depend on the synergy between public lands and private lands. All we have is our land and our well-settled relationships between our lands and national forests. Now a private company with limited liability and no certification is asking you to give them a license to take our land. Our families and our communities depend on the land, which is all we have. The pipeline easement only takes land out of production, ending hundreds of years of use, in some cases by the same family. This will have a devastating impact on the citizens of Craig. You can't mitigate those changes in the relationship to our land. Only the easement is taken, but the blast zone steals even more from our heritage. The terrain proposed to be crossed drives up the risk of leaks and explosions, which must be considered a significant issue on any route.
Thank you, Bill. And I know you're going to send in more detailed comments.
My only comment would be to repeat that please include, MVP cannot mitigate, and these are significant issues that must be included.
And I'm certain you'll explain that in great detail in a letter to the FERC. Number 20, please.
W-I-L-L-I-S. I'm a stream ecologist, PhD stream ecologist, got my PhD from Virginia Tech. I'm touched here tonight by the people here. I understand every one of them what they're saying. This pipeline's going to affect their lives. Yeah, we're concerned about our water supplies. Absolutely, we're concerned about our water supplies, but it's going to affect our lives in ways that you really can't understand, because it's going to be affecting the land. And we all of us in this room live close to the land. And what this pipeline does to the land is what we're here about. My concern, what I'm going to talk about tonight, is sedimentation. We know pipelines cause sedimentation in streams. The Transco pipeline, the one that this pipeline will feed into, has open scars on it right now that are eroding streams, causing problems in streams a half-mile off the corridor. The pipeline that was mentioned earlier in Giles County, that was approved and built, right now it's causing sedimentation problems after it's built. There's a pipeline that was built several years ago in Southwest Virginia. They did every BMP they could think of because there were endangered species there. They did hourly monitoring during the construction to make sure that there wasn't a problem. You know what? It washed out anyway, and it killed hundreds of endangered mussels down there. This is no time, this pipeline, this route is no place to experiment with methods. This route is going to cross, the 110 route that goes through Craig County, is going to cross the 5 most important streams in the world for the James River spiny mussel. The main 5 streams where it's still doing well. All 5 of those streams are going to have erosion scars open, or pipeline trenches opened up at the same time, or recently opened at the same time, and a heavy rainfall event, just as not even a catastrophic event normally, but just a normal heavy rain could cause that species to be wiped off the face of the earth. We want to know how you're going to mitigate that. How are you going to do, what kind of BMPs are you going to use? And we need that spelled out, and we need it done well. Actually, the pipeline doesn't belong in Craig County. It doesn't belong anywhere here. This is a special place. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
My name is Mary Keffer, and our farm is on Cumberland Gap Road on Route 42 in Craig County. I moved to Craig County from Alexandria in the early 1980s to teach in the Craig County school system. I fell in love with the mountains and with a dairy farmer and a Craig County native. We got married in 1983 and have 2 children. Our dairy farm is in the path of the alternate 110J, and the alternate 110 comes very close to our spring. Our spring flows by gravity down into the farmhouse where my father-in-law died last September at the age of 92, in the house he was born in, on the farm his parents bought in 1912. It's a good, healthy spring, enough for our 2 households to have plenty of water. Our son will live there one day. He has his degree from Virginia Tech, and he and his wife have chosen to stay here. He will be the 4th generation to farm this land, and he has plans to expand the dairy farm production so that it will support he and his wife, as well as my husband and I. We are an endangered species, the small family farm. In 1991, the U.S. Department of Agriculture required our family farm to implement a conservation plan as part of their sod buster program in the Food Security Act of 1985. We were given the choice to either implement their erosion control procedures or to quit milking cows. Large sections of the cropland and pasture were labeled highly erodible land on this farm plan. The plan also included construction of a $50,000 animal waste facility. All of these measures were done to protect Sinking Creek from erosion due to our steep slopes and from runoff from the farm. My husband and his father chose to go into debt to comply with this plan and to protect the creek and to keep on farming. It's more than unfair to have one government agency impose these expensive restrictions on us for the sake of conservation and water quality, and then to have another agency allow a private company to come through our land and undo all these conservation efforts. Not only undo them, but create erodible areas and the added risk of pollution and possible explosion. Some of my neighbors along the proposed route say they will move away. It's just too risky to live near a 42-inch natural gas pipeline. But picking up and moving away is not an option for us. This is our heritage. It's our home place. So here's what we want to know and what we expect you to work to find out before allowing this pipeline. How will we manage living within the 2,000-foot blast zone? How can we expect our son to raise a family that close to a 42-inch high-pressure natural gas pipeline? How can you mitigate our attachment to this land? This is what we want documentation of in
Thank you very much
EIS.
for your comments.
Thank you.
22.
My name is Dana Olson, O-L-S-O-N. I live in Peters Mountain, Monroe County, adjacent to the...
Put the microphone closer now.
Okay, we'll start there. Okay, my name is Dana Olson, O-L-S-O-N. I live on Peters Mountain, Monroe County, adjacent to the Appalachian Trail. Peters Mountain produces world-class quality spring water, which has been and continues to be volatile. Sweet Springs and Gap Hills has won international awards for water spring quality, including 4 first-place finishes in the Winter Festival of the Waters. Newmint Springs, which is located 1 mile from the proposed pipeline, won first place in the nation and second place in the world behind Volvic Springs from France. Now, our family lives directly on one of the proposed routes, and our main spring was considered to be part of Newmint. Our spring water comes directly from Peters Mountain and continues to have this amazing quality. Our natural spring source is located 200 yards from the proposed pipeline corridor. We are concerned about maintaining the quality and quantity of Peters Mountain water for our family, our neighbors, and citizens of Monroe County. If this is to be done, the quality and quantity should be assessed before construction, during construction, and for the lifetime of the pipeline. There should be contingency planning in place before construction so that appropriate mitigation can be performed if quantity or quality is damaged. Responsive mitigation strategies should be developed and the existence of resources should be verified before construction begins. If this is to be done, we suggest that there be an independent non-governmental organization separate from MVP and its successors to monitor water quality and quantity and have intervention responsibility and capabilities, and that mitigation funding be in the form of escrow, substantial enough to last the lifetime of the project, which would essentially be in perpetuity. If this must be done, we recommend that a proactive, independent mitigation entity be established prior to the construction, and that an escrow fund be created for the 300 miles of the project with an initial escrow of $1 billion, that's $1,000 million per 100 miles, or $3 billion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Number 23.
Seth Abramson, Seth, S-E-T-H, Abramson, A-B-R-A-M-S-O-N. I am a fourth-generation resident with my wife here in Monroe County. She comes from Connecticut and has moved down here and been with me here for 5 years. And we have come out here to voice our opinions and gather support for the community on this issue that is volatile. And I'm not sure that you guys understand how threatened this community is by your behavior. The lack of communication, the simply rerouting us around the school 3 times, looking at your watch every 20 seconds. These are all things that build into us not trusting you. There is an idea in this community that I am purely passing on to you that the FERC is a stepping stone to the energy industry. So the community has very little faith in what is coming through and the integrity of the systems in place to protect the local community. So that being said, I am standing in front of you trying to express how angry and defensive everybody here will be. I could rattle all sorts of environmental statistics off, but I think everybody's covered that quite a bit. What I'm trying to communicate is that the social impact of this thing, the social environmental impact of this thing, when you start to ruin farmers' farms, when you start to threaten these people with eminent domain, you will quickly get something like a wildfire that burns out of control. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. 24 is up. I'd like 25.
South, S-O-U-T-H. And I live on the base of Peters Mountain. We own a farm there where 6 kids were raised by a very loving father who taught us everything to enjoy about the mountain and the precious water, and our mother too. But both of them are passed on now, and they would want us here fighting for what they believed in and they came back home for, and that's what we're fighting for. I'm a farmer and a rental cabin owner, and we have a genocide of life that God meant for us to live. I would like to load each one of you up and take you to the top of Peters Mountain so you could see the New River Valley to the west and the mountains, so you could see the New River Valley to the west and the mountains of Virginia to the east. I would like to have you taste the pure mountain spring water. There is none better, just as there is no better view from Peters Mountain. The legendary fame of Peters Mountain water has continued and grown as local residents, public water districts, and award-winning commercial spring water companies use the slopes of Peters Mountain for a water supply. On both the northwestern and southeastern slopes of Peters Mountain, many local residents depend upon untreated groundwater, springs, or even surface water for drinking water supplies. It is not uncommon for spring water to be piped thousands of feet from mid-slopes of the mountain to homes in the valley. Public water supplies also depend on Peters Mountain water, including from the south to north along the northwestern slope, Red Sulphur Public District, the Union Water System, and the Gap Mills Public Water System. Although the Peters Mountain area, water is primary resource produced by the mountain as it feeds the water and tributaries of Rich Creek and Indian Creek in the New River Valley into the James River watershed. Both the actual quality and the reputation of Peters Mountain water are therefore of critical importance to Monroe County and to the region. The quality and the reputation of the waters of Peters Mountain, the gushing springs and living waters at the foot of Peters Mountain that we have, MVP, our gas line would destroy. I would be 2 miles down from this and pure devastation. We're also, I want to talk to you a little bit about the cultural attachment. We were one of the families that were studied cultural attachment when we fought this power line. There's no different. This is a much bigger problem. And one thing about it, it's just like riding to the top of Peters Mountain to catch the best sunset. Could you imagine what that would look like on the top of Peters Mountain? The rocks, there's just no way. It's like drinking cold, pure water from the faucet or straight from the creek. Have you ever done that? Well, I was raised doing that. Like knowing the square fern covered rocks where your father actually went to school. There's a very big cultural attachment, and you please need to take that into consideration.
Thank you very much for your comments. Number 25.
My name is Maury Johnson. That's M-A-U-R-Y Johnson. There's S-N. I live at the foot of Ellison's Ridge in the Hans Creek Valley near Greenville here in Monroe County. My family are among the earliest settlers. I'm a lifelong relative, by the way. My family was among the earliest settlers in this valley, coming here in the 1700s, some of them. The Johnsons and Johnson's Crossroads, the Millers and the Manns, who settled near Assurance and Springfield. The Cooks and Shanklins, who came from Indian Creek, Hans Creek, Ellison's Ridge, and Greenville. My family has a long, long history of being stewards of the earth and protectors of this county and this country. I have many relatives who served in their countries proudly in the U.S. military. My brother was killed and buried on my 8th birthday in 1968 in Vietnam. My daughter currently serves in the U.S. Navy that's on the USS Rushmore, getting ready to do her second deployment to the Persian Gulf. While they stand up for our freedoms, we are under attack by corporations such as EQT and Dexter, MVP LLC, who want to destroy everything that we hold dear and take property for a private gain. My daughter wants to come back and build a place overlooking what would be a pipeline route. In my area, they want to endanger many springs, wells, homes, and various plants and wildlife. Just a few examples of this area. On my farm, there's an area where I've managed for over 30 years, woodcocks and whippoorwills in this area, certified by the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources. The whippoorwills, I have more there than any place, possibly in any state, West Virginia or Virginia. Last night I counted 13 separate whippoorwill calls. We have one of the only certified nesting grounds of American woodcocks in the state. That's been documented by WVDHR. They forgot to mention that though in their report to you all. If this pipeline was built across my farm, it would go right through the middle of this and totally destroy this area. There, many people come to enjoy the whippoorwill calls. It would also cross and run across the bear habitat on Ellison's Ridge. Critical eagle habitat. I suspect there's probably a nest. We just haven't found it yet. In the Hans Creek, Ellison's Ridge, and in Indian Creek valleys. I've seen as many as 9. I have pictures of 9 eagles last fall. It would cross within feet of a historic artesian spring on top of Ellison's Ridge. It would also pass very close or through many significant springs, wells, wetlands, cars to feed and supply the water to the entire area. Real quickly, we have a farmer in our valley. He's not in the pipeline route, but he runs the pipeline road right down the Hans Creek Valley. He's organic. A diesel fuel spill puts this man out of business. His milk goes nationally to a national distributor. I see that the things that they're getting ready to flash. I don't have enough time to tell you everything that's what I do, and I will send you a letter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.